am Taylor, and you are listening to the Surviving Maine Season 4 Behind the Scenes podcast. With me, as always, the production manager of Season 4 and producer of Survivor Brooklyn South. It's George. How are you, George?
I'm good. What are we on, the third year of this podcast?
I
How
believe
long
it's
has
three
it
and a
been?
half. Yeah, we're
Sounds about right. Loving it.
episode 5,000.
Yes. Hello, everyone out there watching our little dog and pony show. We
And
appreciate you tuning in.
our special guest today, he's not Duke, he's King, the gorgeous Adam. How are you, Adam?
No. Hi, I refuse all of those titles, but thank you for having me. It's fun to come back on
Glad
this.
to have you, King Adam. So
So, mob assassin, Adam. That's what I equate you
the
to
hit list.
in this series. Your hit list was your through line, was your story. You had to check these people off.
did.
Kiefer, was Kiefer after the game grateful for what you did to avenge his name?
Um, only slightly. I think he was mad at me every single time that I decided to work with TJ, Allison, Dave. Didn't matter. Anytime I worked with them or pretended to, he would be angry at that moment. So, but he did laugh along with for a little bit how strong I continued that on, and of course I have to. He's my guy. I can't leave him be. Like unavenged. It's a terrible way to go out. So, but.
So you've since moved to Italy for the time being. You left all your friends behind, everyone on the hit list behind. Well, not on the
Yeah,
hit list, but that you avenged. Do you miss your buddies from the game or what?
yeah. I mean, after Callie betrayed me, we didn't speak for a year. No, no,
No,
we're fine. No,
you almost got me there. You almost got
no,
me
no. It was very amicable, but no, it has been a little bit. It was sad to leave and to leave everyone behind, and we did fit in a watch party with TJ once. He came to Boston and we hosted a little thing, and so it's been fun to like reconnect with everybody as everything's coming out, and I'm still trying to keep up as much as possible, even now that I've moved. That premiere date is in the middle of the night. I can't
Yeah.
watch at the same time as everyone else, but it's been fun to read the messages and then see how everyone played the game from their own perspective. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's
So
been
what is it like watching? I think I've asked most of the people most of our guests. What was it like watching yourself back on these episodes?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the main thing is that I didn't realize I was mumbling all of the time, every single line. I I had been told throughout my like school years that my voice carries. And so I was trying to be really cognizant of that as I was like scheming. I didn't want the wrong people to hear my schemes. Um, I don't know why I was concerned. I would tell them my schemes anyway. So it's not like I was keeping a lot of good secrets very well. But so that was the most surprising thing, is to realize that how often I needed subtitles. I was definitely like, okay, next time I'm in a recorded environment, maybe be more cognizant of how clearly I'm speaking. So that's been the weirdest thing. And then also, whenever you say like because obviously now we play the game and we know what happens and how everything pans out, and then you hear yourself say something with full confidence that just will not happen and you're totally wrong about. And those are the worst moments. You just like, oh, you're so blind, or like you're just so wrong, and yeah. So that
I
makes it
think it was
awkward.
I think it was a lot of you like speaking your inner monologue when you were giving confessionals. It was just train of thought. And I think that's probably why, you weren't articulating as much or pronouncing as much or projecting as much, because you were just working shit out while you were giving these confessionals. Uh
You would
and
stop
yeah,
mid-sentence because you would
yeah.
have another thought, and you would interrupt
Yeah.
yourself with your other thought.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely would have been really helpful to have like a PA with me to give me scripts and like cue cards so I could stay a teleprompter. And I mean, I know the budget isn't like super high, but I think we can afford one. So no, but it's yeah, definitely very stream of consciousness. I tried to like start opening up more during the confessionals as the time went on to like make sure I could give an inner look to everybody, but that meant that yeah, it was just top of mind, top of like yeah, no coherence. Yeah.
No, but
Um,
you did let us in more like around right after the Maddie vote. You came alive in those confessionals, and from that point on, you were just like feeling yourself, and you were just really fun to watch, and I was loving everything.
ah,
Yeah.
thanks for the edit.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've made it clear that you were my favorite,
Yeah.
and I have to be impartial to everything. And I just really enjoyed watching your game.
Thank you,
You
George.
were, yeah, you were entertaining, and it was fun watching you come alive in these things when you started to realize, oh, I might win this thing. There's a
Mm,
possibility I could win this thing. So
yeah,
I was privy to a lot of every time you voted, whatever you said. So I was able to follow your game through that because I wasn't following you around during any of the strategy sessions or anything, but the truth came
right.
out when you held up the parchment and voted, and I knew where your mind was going and what you were doing. So you were one of the people I was like, this guy, if they don't get him out, he's gonna make it and he's gonna win. Uh, which is why when you were voted out, I surprised myself as I'm filming your final words. If you remember our little
Yeah,
moment,
I do remember this. Yeah,
I
Tell
got
because you
really
stopped recording. Talk about this.
yeah,
I got emotional when he made that quote about living life. And it was just like, because I was so invested in his game, it was like I was a viewer at home watching Rupert get voted out of Pearl Islands. It was like, who has since proven to not be the biggest strategy player, but he was someone that I was emotionally invested in because of, whatever the case is. But I felt that. I felt you getting voted out more so than a lot of the other people. And I got emotional, and Adam saw me get emotional, and then he started
Is
crying. And I
that
was
oh
what
like
yeah,
this with the
happened?
camera. I was
yeah.
like, I made someone cry. No, but it
No,
was
that was
it was real.
yeah.
That was
Well,
real.
thank you, George. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say I felt the same way about your influence on the show. Like, not only did I feel like you were easy to connect with, and so that brought confessionals and those moments that you're talking about in the voting booth like a lot easier to come with honesty and something that was compelling. But yeah, I just felt uh, totally invested in it as soon as you started when you turned the camera on really quickly and like started breaking down. Yeah, I just got me too. Like I was like, this is such a beautiful moment, and uh,
Was.
yeah, we it was. I mean, I didn't remember you turning the camera back on, so I thought that was going to be the last little moment, just like immediate camera off and then just like back in, and so it was great to see that again and relive that experience.
Listen, if
But
I wasn't able to make Seth cry, I was going to make someone cry. I I
yeah,
wanted to get the tears from someone.
I
If it
know.
wasn't
Yeah,
Seth, it was you.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Man tears always get me. Anytime I see a man crying, I'm just
Mhm.
immediately like sobbing.
So there was Adam, you kind of foreshadow your demise in the very beginning. You say how is this going to play out? This could play out one way or the other. But then Taylor interjects an insert of a worm kind of going by. Was that intentional, Taylor? Were you like, I'm giving you a little foreshadowing here to which direction this is going to go?
you know, it was not intentional until I was rewatching it, and that caterpillar clip is very long. I
Yeah.
noticed, like, much longer than the other ones that I've put in, and I was like, this is shit. Like, this is, and it's crawling down. I'm like, this is like the downfall of Adam about to come
Yes.
down. Like,
So it was
Yeah.
intentional.
I wish I
It
could say
was
it
very,
was really intentional, but yeah, now
very
it is.
clever. Oh, it was an afterthought that it was
Yeah,
intentional. I got you.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. That works for me. During that challenge, you had an incredible, like, superhuman recovery right in the round before you lost.
Mm-hmm.
You were, it was like,
It was wild.
that was pretty incredible. That was,
Yeah.
those were my bows, by the way. Brought them all the
Mm.
way from Brooklyn, New York, from Survivor Brooklyn South.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry. Um, but yeah, I've never they're intentional because when you're doing a 1 day game, you don't want an endurance challenge to last more than 5 minutes. You
Mm.
want it to
right.
be over and done with, and those are perfect for that because unless you find a groove and really zone in, I never put anybody on blocks or anything like that. I thought that was vicious. Um,
Oh,
but
tell me about it.
yeah, but it's a good time saver because it's not an easy challenge at all that to keep the
Mm.
ball on those things.
Yeah, I was kind
Well,
of
you could,
surprised that it lasted so long. It lasted about 12 minutes in total, which is a pretty long time for what that was. And it was so windy that day.
Yeah.
yeah, you could see how difficult it was just to get started with Seth and Amelia immediately
Yeah.
dropping. Like, unless you found a position that was comfortable right away, like, yeah, trying to bounce that ball. And those blocks, obviously, that's what took me out. But stepping up the difficulty one more, like you're trying to balance both directions, that was impossible for me. And I'm impressed that Nick was so rock solid the whole time.
Yeah,
So.
that was
So
impressive.
watching these back, um, whose game surprised you the most compared to what you observed out there?
Good question. Um,
Who's
maybe
playing harder than you give him credit for? Gave him
probably
credit
that's
for back then.
yeah, yeah. I think that the longest term answer for that would be Amelia. I definitely am impressed whenever I watch her with how intentional she is by who she's talking to and where she is when she is leading the conversation, like when she jumps in. I definitely like when I was playing with her, I think she rightly read at me as someone who has a strategy and likes to dictate and you like will is looking for people where are their heads at. So she would like prompt me to like get more information out of me. Where in other situations I'd find that she would take a little bit more of a leading role. So I think that her like that emotional intelligence aspect was really strong, and then she used that to her advantage really well. So I think that was surprising for me, especially because like in those moments where we would be deciding what to do, and like I said, like maybe I was taking more of a direct role in telling people who I wanted out and who I think they should vote for. She was very receptive to that directness and would sometimes do it, and often that she was left questioning where her allies were and so I read her as maybe less influential and maybe with less power than that she actually wielded.
Hmm.
Confession, same here. I had
Yeah.
no, I agree with you 100%. Amelia making it this far, she was so good, I feel, at hiding the strategy and her intelligence that, you know, the fact that she's made it this far while the game was going on, I was shocked. I was like, how is she doing this?
Hmm.
So is it safe to say that at this point in the game, Adam, that um, if it wasn't going to be you to win this game, do you think it was going to be Amelia or someone else? Who was the strongest person in your mind that might have won this game at this point? If we went to
Yeah,
final tribal
But
council,
it's a little bit difficult to answer that since uh like I'm trying to both put myself in the mindset of where I was when I was voted out, who I thought was doing well, but then also like having watched the season so far, like with all of the confessionals and seeing those aspects of people that I didn't get to see, like that alters where your mind is. I think that uh, like both in the game and watching so far, like Amelia and Callie are the two people that I thought were the most had the best gameplay so far, but also were pulling off moves and small strategy decisions that I thought really impacted the game in bigger ways than I anticipated. Um, uh, I think after watching some of these confessionals, it would probably be Amelia. But I also like, um, I don't know. It's hard to say any of them because I wanted it to be me. So at this point, I thought I was gonna win. Um, so it was like yeah, in my head, I had the crown, um, and that was what led to my downfall ultimately, maybe. But um, yeah, in that moment, still, it was hard to see anyone else winning. So.
What point did you see the writing on the wall? Because it seems like you have a bit of an epiphany while you're voting. You're like, it's me.
Yeah.
And was it in that moment or leading up to that moment, if you remember, were you like, oh, this is my round, I'm going home?
Yeah, I do remember. So a little behind the scenes, right? There's the whole strategy talking portion, but there's always like, okay, like strategy talks are done, the doors closed, we're gonna be quiet now. And just like set up for tribal council, we have to get people in their position and walk in and all that. And so there's a certain amount of time where you're not supposed to talk to people and you're just kind of in your own space and thinking about the round. Uh and it was in that moment, like before entering tribal council, where I had something just clicked in my brain. Don't know what it was, can't remember. It wasn't conscious. It was just like this feeling set in where I was like, wait a second, like, and just different conversations and different looks and body language, something about it, and it clicked, and I was like, okay, it's me. Like, and I started maybe scrambling a moment, and I think there was even something that may have not been super kosher, where I try to like talk to someone real quick, and they're like shooing me away, because I was like a little panicked, but I came in and I was like, okay, like I think this is. It felt like it was me. There's a chance that I'm wrong, but yeah, it sank in.
There's a moment of really great camera work while Callie and Seth are planning your demise. And you're just sort of kicking rocks in the background as they're talking about you. That was
Yeah.
kind of hard to watch, no? Like just knowing that people are like talking about getting rid of you and you're like 5 feet away from them. That
Yeah.
whoever filmed that was just poetry kind of in a lot of ways.
Yeah, very, very good camera work. Just like the worm. I don't know if that camera person was intentional, but they need a raise. So, yeah, definitely hard to watch. You kick rocks as you lose. Yeah, it's terrible. Um,
I got to give a
yeah.
lot of yeah, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just I want to give a shout out to those camera people because they were in it. They were, I'm not going to name everybody by names. They're in the credits, but particularly those who had to follow the tribes throughout the game, they really busted their asses. Like to mind,
Hmm.
Jess and Andy were always, always, always filming. And the reason that Taylor was able to get such good footage to edit these stories is because of their dedication. Addison and oh,
Brandon,
what the hell?
Dan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brandon, yes. Dan, and of course Will, who was like led the whole thing and took over for basically what you is that what you did, Taylor, while you were
Yeah.
out there?
Yeah, directing
Yeah.
the cameras. Yeah.
It was I learned a lot watching them as a producer of my own games who really depended mostly on Facebook Live and things like that. But I never really released the camera crew to capture every bit of what was going on. And I really think that besides Taylor's masterful editing, I think that those camera people and the fact that they were former cast members really helped them know what was needed and what needed to be covered. So it's incredible to watch, and it was incredible to watch while we were out there filming it, because they were dedicated, they were in it, and they were starving along with all of you because they didn't have a
Yeah.
minute to rest ever.
Mm-mm.
There's so
No,
many growling stomachs. I don't know if you could hear them.
oh, really?
The past two, like episodes 13 and 14, so many growling stomachs that I could hear. And Becky watching was like, "Is that stomach growling?" I was like, "Yeah, it's probably Brandon." Like,
Um,
That's incredible. Yeah, I would like to echo that, George. Like just being there in the moment. Many times I remember saying, like, this is really well produced. Like amazing that we have camera people here following us for this and sticking around and in the original tribes you're talking about, there's a lot of moments where someone else is going to tribal council, so you're not really doing strategy talks. But then every once in a while something would pop up, and in my case, I think it was Andy was there that day, and Andy would just be doing nothing, like hanging out with us. Now would come like boom, camera right on you. Like it was very well done, and they were up as late as us and asleep and I mean awake before us. So it was
yep.
yeah, major thanks.
so I want to talk about Nick for a second.
Mm.
Um, it's fun watching Nick from where he started to where he is now, in that he seemed to be growing a little bit of confidence. He started off a little meek, I feel, and the confidence has grown up to this point. And he becomes a lot more fun to watch as the series progresses. What were your thoughts on Nick while you were out there, Adam?
I agree with that. Obviously, I didn't get to watch him during the initial votes. We weren't on the same tribe until the merge, so I didn't get to interact with him until then in a face-to-face way. But definitely throughout the merge and all of the votes after that, he definitely becomes more alive. Like at first, he's like, yeah, trying to work with his alliances like everyone else, but slowly he becomes I just remember him opening up about his life more and more, and you could tell that like his comfortability in the game, like strategy wise, but also like who he was playing with, just started to grow, and so yeah, he opened up and became a lot uh more of himself, I think, and that was great to watch. But we learned a lot about him, and he's a sign language interpreter for those who don't know, and I mean, something I don't know anything about, and I still remember that to this day, a lot of those details because he was so open with it, and it was, that was, I think, yeah, the final five, if I remember. So yeah, he really grew and opened up.
uh,
So, yeah,
I was gonna bring up something from that TJ had said. In episode 12, TJ is talking to you and Allison, and he's like, if one of us goes, then it's gonna be boom, boom, the other two go. And I love that he said that because that's exactly what happened. It's
Hmm.
TJ, Allison, you, boom, boom, boom. What do you I mean, you had nothing to do with TJ being voted out. And I know that voting out Allison, last time I talked to you, that was your biggest regret from the game. I don't know if that's still true, but do you want to talk about that boom 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 at all?
Yeah, I think TJ's got a point there, especially when it obviously happened. But at that stage, right, it's whenever people would talk to me about who they wanted to vote out, it would always be like first two people they're worried about would be TJ and Allison. And I'm sure they were hearing similar things about each other and maybe me, and I don't know. But he's got a point where it's like as soon as one big target goes, the other one's obvious. But if there's a tension between them, then there can be a larger war, maybe. Like some analogy that's better than that. But like you're saying, like if it's we don't want Allison to win, so we'll vote out her supporter instead, so she doesn't have the votes or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
like I think he's got a point there. Obviously disappointing that it occurred, especially with TJ getting idled out. Um, yeah, I think that like you said, Taylor, like last time we talked, voting out Allison was my biggest regret, and I still think strategically that was poor for precisely what happened next was that she was the biggest threat in the game, and she's gone, and so then who's next to go was me, right? Like if she's still around, then I might not get voted out. I might not be seen the same way. So yeah.
so expectation versus reality. You cast in this game. Um, First of all, how did you hear about this game?
So I heard about it from a friend who grew up in Maine. We went to college together. and Erin, and she sent us the game. She sent me the game on Facebook. Um, and I don't know how she even heard about it, but someone in Maine she knew reposted it, um, and it was like deadline is this Friday, and it was Thursday. I was like, oh, okay, but I hadn't really ever been exposed to something that was a surviving game, an LRG like this that was put on not just by someone I know, like
Yeah.
my friend down the street is hosting all the neighbors, and so that it was cool. It was a whole exposure to a community that I didn't expect. And then you said expectations versus reality. Um, I thought that the challenges that we were gonna do were gonna be the stuff that like I can come up with in my kitchen. And these were high quality and super fun and complicated. And sometimes they didn't always work perfectly, but what was incredible was that there was always like a way to adapt and use them. We even did some of the classic ones, like the snake puzzle, for example, like uh, the you have to navigate the ball up. I mean, like all those are incredible and fun and varied. Like they're puzzles and yeah, where you're running. That was the biggest surprise for me. Like it was just incredible to see that. So shout out to all the production people. And I know those were probably really annoying to set up and carry and make. So even more shout out to all the work that I didn't see that put into something that was really good. Um, yeah,
Have
I think.
you
No, go ahead. Sorry.
have you played any since?
I have not played any since. I did reach out to you, George, watching the first episode of Surviving Maine, or maybe whatever, well, some episode. I was just like, oh man, it'd be so fun to do this again. But obviously, like you said at the beginning, it just moved to Italy, so it didn't work out timing wise. But um, I'm open
What would
to
you
it.
do
I think
differently,
what would I do
if any,
differently?
if anything? Like you don't have to give away your strategy or anything, just for anybody who may be
Yeah,
watching. But what would like? Were there things that
yeah.
you learned here that you wouldn't repeat?
Yeah, for everybody watching, I'm the most loyal player in existence. I'll ride or die, I'll sacrifice myself for you. So,
There you go.
yeah, I think, uh, I think I would like if to adapt and change my strategy a little bit. Um, I think I would like to maybe, uh, like instead of just try to work with different people at different points and then like pretend like relationships don't change. I think it'd be fun to like try to uh, make like a solid alliance, like a big block, because that was hard for me to do, to one say you're my alliance and then also stick with those people all the time and like reassure that and like all together. And I think like uh, if it was like if we had longer like a game with more time, maybe that would come out more. You're less frantic and you know people a little bit better. But I think yeah, adapt to that way would be good. I don't know, George. You liked my game. Is there anything you would change from a outside perspective? Someone who could give advice, maybe critical, constructive criticism.
Uh,
Yeah,
Maybe just to project, so you can save
yeah,
save
Enunciate.
whoever's save whoever's editing the episodes the heartache
yeah,
of subtitling almost everything you said, because I
yeah,
would I would watch the episodes before they would air, along with a couple of other people, Becky and Liza, and sort of uh you know what needs to what needs to
What
be
do I need to
changed.
change?
Adam subtitle
Every
1203.
fucking time.
Adam subtitle.
Every fucking time. I'd be
Sorry.
like, I just need to subtitle every word that comes out of this man's mouth.
I'm so sorry. Next
Yo,
time, yeah, my strategy will buy a little mic.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, lapel mic.
Come with your own
Yeah,
boom mic. Just have like
yeah,
a
right.
hat with like a.
Yeah.
But no,
Sorry,
you're
Taylor,
great.
for that, by the way. Yeah. Formal apology for that.
No need to do that.
Yeah.
Coming into this, were you a big Survivor fan?
I definitely enjoy the show. Like I like watching it. I'm not like a die-hard seen every season situation, but
Oh,
every time I start one, I usually like to finish. I've seen probably 5 seasons all the way through, maybe more than that, maybe more like 6 seasons all the way through or something like that. And then
Oh,
like
that's it?
spattering.
Really?
I think so because I really started getting into it. Um, like the first full season I watched, I think was well, I watched like maybe one or two with my mom or something as a kid, and so that was on. But we were more of an Amazing Race family, so
I
Survivor
can
would
see you
be
on
on
that.
beforehand. Oh, I would love that, but
There's
I got a whole
actually
pitch for that.
Troy Miller Casagrain, who won one of my seasons, is producing City Quest, I think it's called, and he's doing like an Amazing Race type thing all around Manhattan,
Oh,
which should be really cool. I
that sounds like a
believe that
blast.
yeah, and he's putting a lot into it from what I have gathered. But yeah, and he's done a mole season, so he's really going outside of the survivor box and trying to incorporate a lot of these other games. Um, so you just got to get away from Italy for a few months or a few weeks and come
Hey,
back to the States for all the priorities,
yeah,
man, priorities.
yeah. If you want a volatile person who will betray their own partner, just fly me out, man. That's all you
There
do.
we go.
That's my pitch to all LRG producers out there. If you fly me out, I'll talk loud and I'll be fun. I promise.
So
Yeah.
you're a casual Survivor fan, maybe a little more than casual. When you see somebody like Seth, who's there for the experience and doesn't quite understand the game, do you look at that as like someone that you want to take with you, or someone that you're afraid of and want to get out because they could be a wild card?
Well, for Seth in particular, he was the most straight up person. Every experience you had, he was very authentic. Even in the moments now watching where he may have been straight up lying to me, he comes off as very authentic, but he's also like, as soon as he was thrown into the mixer in a real way, I think he started to play and come out more and start to enjoy the game. I think that it's easy to say, "Oh, I'll just take that person with me," or anything like that. But the reality is that for someone like me, if I can't like work and talk with you about the strategy, then I don't trust you, and I so I don't want to play with you. And Seth, even though he maybe had never played or never watched Survivor and never played something like this before, like I said, like once we were in those more difficult moments, like he would talk and reciprocate and like so I don't think he was like taking it sitting down or anything like that. And
No.
yeah, I
Maybe
love playing with Seth. So
maybe in the beginning, but as the game, as you said, as the game progressed, he knew that he was going to have to
yeah,
start lying and manipulating, and I
And he
think he
did.
did. I
Yeah.
think he
yeah,
really did.
He's a pretty good
I think so
Um,
liar.
too.
Like he's
Yeah,
Pretty good
he
liar.
pretty good at that. Yeah, under the radar for sure.
Yeah, it's like a
Um,
double-edged sword. If you're good at Survivor, it's like, hey, you're really great at this game, but does that just mean that you're really like a sociopath and can
yes.
lie? And like, there are people
right.
that have won these things that play these LRGs that have won like three of them, and it's like, you're good at this, but I am afraid of you. I don't
Yeah,
want you in my life at all because, you're gonna lie straight to
yeah,
my face and I'm gonna believe everything you say.
right.
But
Luckily, I come from a game playing family where
Yeah.
a certain amount of deceit in the game setting is understood and natural. So I wasn't too afraid of what my mom would think of me after watching the game, but it crossed my mind. I was like, I don't know if I want you to think good of me, mom. Like,
I think
uh,
most of us and people who, play a lot of games, whether it's board games or whatever, like we see the difference between lying in a game where it's really fun and lying in real life. And I don't think most people who are really good at these are like terrible people who lie in their
mm-mm.
everyday lives. They just really have a lot of fun when they're allowed to
I don't
lie in a game.
know. I don't know.
What are
I
you
beg
saying,
to
George?
differ. Mm.
She's calling you a bad person,
Mm.
Adam.
Yeah, yeah. That's why George and I get along though, so it's all good.
There's a really nice moment in the game where it's like you're real life friends with Callie, and you basically admit to each other that it's either her or the other person. Like it was very nice to see you able to, split friendship from the game. Like you knew it was every person for themselves at that point. I just that's just a little aside where I enjoyed your personality and Callie's personality because you both like kind of like look at each other and go, it's you or this other
Yeah.
person, but it's not like I'm ruling you out because you both could have very easily lied to each other and manipulated each other. I mean, no, I'm with you to the end. This is no, we're going to final two, blah blah blah. But you were
Right.
just very honest, and let's not hold negative feelings towards each other because we're playing a game. And so that gets lost on some people. They feel like they have to deceive even people who they come into the game with, who they love in real life or
Mm.
respect. Yeah, so that
Yeah,
was just a nice little moment.
I like that too. I definitely agree with you that it's like this is a game. We understand that, like, and I think there is something that's unique about Survivor. Like you're saying, Taylor, that there's deceit in games as long as you're lying. Not like if you lie outside the game, it's kind of wrong. But being thrown into a game where it's only you and other people and your relationships, it makes it more difficult to see where that line is drawn, especially when, as we're talking about, like people are opening up more and you're getting to know them, and so those connections start to build in a way where like I only know this person in the game, I'm only playing a game with them, but at the same time, like I know all these things about their life and who they are, and so that boundary becomes blurry. So I think that moment. You're right, George. It was very nice of Callie and I both being like, look, like we're here to play the game and like I don't really need to lie to you. Like to know that I might that like we're gonna probably vote each other out, or at least we're open to that idea. Like there's no pretenses that we're both gonna just try to win. Especially like knowing Callie, some of how much of a survivor fan she is. Like we both understood that there's a point where like if it comes to it, like we're no regrets, like no mercy. Vote each other out. It's fine. Um, yeah, I obviously I did have my avenging of Kiefer, and I would do that again at any point. But with Topher, I at the beginning he was idled out at the merge and or the merge Tory, and that's a shame because I think if he didn't, the next episode we would have been trying to vote each other out. That's just who we are. We
Ah,
can't get along for more than a vote. So
no way.
it would have been an interesting, but obviously it's all hypothetical. Um,
That
I
would have
just
been good
yeah,
TV.
it would have been
Yeah,
fun. Yeah.
dang.
Did this you went into this with a bunch of people that you knew. Uh did this experience bring you guys closer together or do you have trust issues with some people?
Yeah, like like I said, like I thought Kiefer and I would be really close after my avenging thing, but he was just mad at every time I worked. Like I can't. No, yeah, it definitely brought us closer together. It's a fun experience to have, and then we always have this show. So thank you, you both again for like creating the actual show of it, because now we always have this memory and like it's
Mhm.
something that we can refer back to and rewatch as years go by. And I mean, that's super special to have anything like that in your life where like this is the moment and it's immortalized.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of the people, like I remember Callie saying one time, like, "Sorry, I voted you out." Maybe like I don't like we were fine, and um, yeah, we all wanted to play, and I think everyone's goal was to not just don't get voted out like the first vote, and then after that, and then fine.
Hmm.
Listen, it was a lot of fun watching you play. I've said it before. I think that you should absolutely play more of these in the future. Uh,
Find me out. I'll be there.
when you're back in the States, we have to absolutely, get you involved with some more. Hopefully, when I do my multi-day game, if that ever comes to fruition, I'd love for you to play that. You just got to find a location. And the desire at this point because it's a lot of work,
Hmm.
a lot of work to produce these things. And I hope it works out. I hope that you're able to play. I think that you mentioned like 2 or so years that you're going to be out there. That's probably the amount of time it's going to take before I'm in a position to starve people at a lake house or something.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Let me know.
but
I mean, I'll move mountains for you, George. You know
hey, I love this
that.
guy. Taylor, do you have anything else for Adam for today?
I was wondering, Adam, if you appreciated the regal trumpets and French horns I gave to you for your exit as
I
King Nugget.
did. Yes. Thank you. I think they were righteous. No, I yes. It made it all the more harder to watch too. It was great.
You were great, Adam. You were really great.
Great character, very, very strategic. Now, if you had to do this whole thing over again with the same exact cast and the same thing happened to Kiefer, would you focus on that revenge the way that you did during the game, or would you switch that up a little bit?
I mean, my heart just told me it needed to be done. I felt that from the bottom of my feet through the top of my head that no matter what, it was eliminate. Let's see if I can do still do it. Dave, Shaylee, Allison, TJ. Um, I think it was a lot of fun to focus on that. Maybe it got in the way. So
Got you very far, though. You know,
yeah,
I,
you were usually on the right side of things.
yeah. I Lumberjack John and Mouthy Mike would never forgive me if I didn't ask you this, but they were obsessed with your hit list and the fact that you like were going after Dave, even though Dave didn't vote Kiefer out.
yeah, I didn't know that. Didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Poor Dave.
No, yeah, no knowledge of that. Sorry, Dave. What can you do? Um, yeah. Sorry, Dave. Yeah. I guess he didn't deserve that heat, but I
No.
mean, yeah, there's a lot of reasons to get Dave out, but that one was undeserved, I think. So
He'll be very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
yeah, tell, well, I don't quite regret it, but tell him I almost do.
Almost.
Yeah.
I'll
Adam
tell him
almost
Adam
regrets it.
almost regrets
Yeah.
targeting you for something you didn't do.
Yep,
That you
sorry.
didn't do.
Who do you think is the player of this episode? It's kind of
Oh,
hard for this one.
Player of the episode. Obviously, it's myself. I
Right?
did so good. No, no. Player of the episode.
who gets the ticky?
I guess I'll give it to Seth. I think that it I think he could have been an easier vote, and I lament that in the episode, but I don't think he ever for a moment was unsure about voting for me, even though we had worked together in the past. I don't think I had a lot of loyalty from him anyway, but there was maybe a little bit of some from the original and some other votes, and I know that was sometimes hard for him to do, and so I like for his personal arc, I think that was good. But then also, like, I don't know, he effectively used his relationships to keep um, like his name eventually safe, and I think that that was good. And obviously, all of them voted against me, so it's not like uh, they had like a I don't know a strong contingent otherwise. But I think Seth did a really good job, um, and it starts culminating for him here. So.
I think I'm inclined to agree. I think maybe Seth is the deserving winner of best player of this episode. Yeah. Has he won
I
before? I don't think so.
I don't think he's won a ticky, but I'm gonna be a little different than the
Okay.
two of you, and I'm gonna say Callie. And I think Callie for me because she voted out a friend. She saw that you were a threat.
Yeah.
She saw that you could have probably, been a difficult person in the end to go against. And she played the game instead of playing friends. And I think that her being able to separate that and see you as a threat and, get rid of you and basically tell you that she was thinking of getting rid of you. She followed through, and I think that's why I would give it to Callie for this episode. It's my own personal little thing.
Love it.
She
I
gets,
think that's fair. Yeah, totally.
2 for Seth, 1 for Callie. Perfect.
but I do love Seth, and I always want to give Seth his flowers because it was fun watching him blossom through this game. He was a
Yeah.
wonderful addition to this thing. And just because of his wide-eyed, what am I in? What is this? Like I thought I was going to be, camping in the woods for 3 days and getting ideas from my YouTube series.
Yeah.
But then this guy is playing this game. So yeah, I think Seth is deserving, but for this episode, I think Callie gets it for me.
Adam, I'm curious. In this episode, you say if Nick hadn't won that immunity, that he would have been for sure the one out. I don't know if that's true. Do you still think it is?
I don't think so. I think
You
I
think it
think I
would have been?
wanted that to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I think like Nick was a not like a consensus, but his name came up a lot as like someone we could vote out, and I think he
Yeah.
did a good job of eventually always like kind of dodging that target
Yeah.
in a variety of ways. But I think it was more of a case of tunnel vision for me of just like we can just vote Nick next, like whatever, and I don't think that would have happened. I heard me say that and I was like, ooh, like sorry, Nick, that was probably wrong. Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I got everything that I wanted to know out of this episode. How about you, Taylor?
Yeah, we're good. And I spoke with Adam for 2 hours, and his deep dive podcast is coming out tomorrow. So enjoy that.
Nice.
Honestly,
All
just
right.
editing it, I was like, oh my God, I had so much fun talking to you. We had so much fun. You're just
We
fun
did
to
have a
talk
great
to.
time.
Yeah.
Ah, thank you. Same. Thank you for this hosting. Thank you for having me on. It was a blast to both do the game, watch it, and this podcast. So
Adam, I think you should, while you're out there, maybe consider running your own Italy-based LRG.
mhm. As
Why
soon as I
not?
learn Italian fluently, I'll be there. I need to be
There
able
you
to
go.
ask questions and understand strategy, and then we'll.
Google Translate.
Okay. Yeah.
That'd be fun to edit, huh?
Yeah. It's just all an AI voice, the whole show. Yeah.
Yep. Be fun. All right. This was great. Thank you for making time for us. What is it, like 2 a.m. where you are right now?
Not quite, but thank
Right.
you both.
6 hours ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
9 p.m.
yeah. So
I don't do math. Okay.
Nope. Not
It's
needed
been
in Survivor.
wonderful. Nope.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Thank
you
you
both.
both.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.